Fruits for meat, herbs for healing. We bring life. Melanation with my twin flame, Master Teacher Natureboy.
Yep.
We transmit light through our body, which is a prism. We got a divine message for y'all for the melanated God. The melanated, what the lower self calls black woman, but here we call her God. Here we call her king, because that's what she is. We're the degenerate. We're going to talk about it. Me and the Master Teacher. Melanation. We bring life. We bring harmony. We bring peace. We bring understanding. We bring love. We bring compassion. We bring order to this realm. Y'all listen up. Tune in. Hey everybody, what's up? Peace, peace reflections. Peace, divine light reflections. Let's see if y'all can bounce off this light we finna give y'all. We finna take a seat and give it to y'all. Welcome. How we doing, reflections? How we doing? How we doing? We got a divine message for y'all. This message is specifically for the original archetype, for the original melanated goddess. You been attacked, goddess. How you gonna be a mother and you can't even be human? How you gonna do that? How you gonna be you when you can't even be human? You got clothes on top of your clothes. You got hair on top of your hair. You got eyes on top of your eyes. Skin on top of your skin. What are you doing? You can't even be you where you are. Do you not see this? Is this not love? This is where birth is supposed to happen. This is where you're supposed to eat. This is where you're supposed to communicate with each other. This is life. You are not a body. You possess a body. You are a soul who has possessed a body. You're here to communicate. What are you doing? It's time you come back to the original archetype. You're not a degenerate. You're the mother. You feeding your human child cow milk. You giving them powder. You're not even giving your seed a chance to grow. You're not watering yourself. You're not watering your life. And this is why we are at a low vibrational state in Babylon. You don't belong there. Your body, do you not see the skin? Do you not see the melanin? It absorbs light and transmits light. You are here to communicate light. You're here to use your body as a solar panel to absorb and transmit light through the skin, through the eyes, through the hair, through all of your senses. How can you say you know God when you don't know you? All the senses that this force you call God gave you to know the source are being attacked. Your skin, your eyes, your hair, your mind, your inner system. You were sent here to power the universe, to power nature. But you're powering the Babylon system. You're powering the lower self. Everything in nature is communicating. You are a communicator. Everything you see in nature communicates. And they communicate with nature through food, through light, through air, through water, through earth. What are you communicating with when you got rubber on the bottom of your shoes? When you got your skin covered up? Look at the grass, look at the trees. They have on their clothes. What are you doing? Your nipples, why are they more melanated? Because they're solar panels. They absorb light. Here we call the woman the original archetype. Why? Because she can sustain life just like this planet, just like this solar system, just like creation. Name me one man that can breastfeed a child from his bosom. Where did our nipples come from? Where did our clitoris, what we now call a penis, come from? It came from the melanated archetype. And don't be confused, she is also God and she is the devil as well. Know this, if I was a higher vibrational being and I wanted to possess a body, which body would I choose? Would I choose the degenerate body? Or would I choose the one that supports all life? And if I was a demon and I wanted to possess a body, which body would I choose? Would I choose the weaker, lesser body to try to take over? Or would I choose the melanated goddess who hairs defies gravity, the melanated God? And he corrected me on it. This is Nature Boy, and he does a good job at transmitting the light. Tell you a quick story about this. Everybody that knows me know I had a daughter. She sparked this light in me. Master Teacher Nature Boy took it further when I seen this message. The light transmission came through, and I moved on it. The great Master Teacher Nature Boy. Listen, absorb, act. We're here to communicate. Your body is a solar panel for this realm, for this earth, for everything natural, for everything living, the elements. You are sun, soil, rain, wind, air, earth, water, fire, blood, breath, body, soul. This is you. What are you doing? The Master Teacher.
So when you wanna, what's going on, Peace Reflection? You know, I'm here with Amun. He made it here with us in Costa Rica here, and him and Tay. Shout out to Tay. They made it here. Proud to have them in, and they've been, you know, absorbing the light. And we doing basically we doing a video today talking about, you know, the importance of the archetype and how we got to come out of the lower self of thinking. Basically, the lower self of thinking is basically taught us and has trained us to think a certain way. And so what we're going to be reflecting today is upon the importance of the archetype and how very important her influence is on humanity. And first, one must know themselves. So we are here to spread knowledge on the self, the physical self, as well as the soul and all other forms of self. But right now, I mean, what you want me to elaborate on?
Elaborate on, what I want him to elaborate on is the body being a prism. We're here to communicate. The body is a communicator for creation. Mm-hmm. It's not to power the lower self. Mm-hmm. We're here to power the system. This is what happens when twin flames unite. This is my twin flame here. When you unite, we come together and we power the universe. Right now, you're listening to a transmission. Where do we get the messages from? We're getting the transmissions from light. They come through this prism we call a body. And you hear it vocally. Sound, light, vibration. And it resonates with you on the inside. Where is this resonance coming from? What is resonating? The melanin is what organizes the organism. Melanin is what organizes everything in life. What's telling the lungs what to do? Where does the heart get the instructions? Where's the stomach getting the instructions? You're a certain height. You're a certain color. Your hair grows a certain length. It doesn't stop growing. Who's giving the instructions? This is what melanin does. It organizes all light and tells it where to go. Your melanated body is the best superconductor, the best transmitter. This does not mean we look down on the European. This is your lower vibrational self. They are lower frequency. That's what color is. Color is frequency. So we can call it better or worse, inferior or superior, but frequency, vibration, melanin. This is what moves all of life. Elaborate, my twin flame.
All right, so basically, you put it pretty well, man. Put it pretty well. But basically, what we have is we have the archetype. When we study in nature, it's kind of difficult for us to look and study nature as far as science and look over the archetype, which is the original human on the earth. First, when we want to understand ourselves, we must understand you, the body. The body is the first thing we need to understand. The second thing we need to understand is how that works, how the body works. In order for us to understand humanity and understand what we see externally, which is really going on internally, we basically have to study ourselves. And science has done a really good job at studying basically, oh, this is better, you can see me better.
Go ahead, it's you.
Science has really done a good job at studying nature and the body. What they failed to tell us, because we're getting our education from them right now, is that and about melanin. And when we study melanin, we have to study genes. When we study genes, we have to study genetics. We have to study chromosomes and DNA and RNA. When we look into epigenetics, we look into genes, this bumps us right into the XX chromosome. When you study the XX chromosome, what you're going to find is the black woman. This is the origin of life. If we want to study life, we have to, they say you have to look into nature, which is the origin of what we call life today, is why we build ourselves from this origin. So if we have to understand humanity, if we want to understand humanity, we must study the origin of humanity. When we study the origin of humanity, what we find out is that the original human organism was an archetype, which we call the archetype. We no longer call her a black woman. Anything that's a woman is a derivative of a man. Anything that's a female is a derivative of a male. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm going with? If you say goddess, we don't say goddess. Anything that says goddess is a derivative of God. And you're no derivative. What that's subliminally saying is basically that you are a derivative of the male, of the man. And this is something that's psychologically done. And so when you call yourself a goddess, what you are doing is you're taking away from you being the original, the archetype. Okay? We have to understand the organism that our souls chose to manifest in the physical realm to be. Okay? Like the Y type, we call these the Y types. These are the male Y types. These Y types were formed from testosterone, which is formed from a hormone vibration. This vibration took a certain form, and that is the Y type. So even the physical body is a spiritual body, just in a form of a vibration, giving off the vibration that we get from the frequency that we tap into, which would be testosterone. So depending on your testosterone levels, how well your body will be built, how your muscle structure will be, depending on how much estrogen you have more curves and be more arch type. So when we study in the physical body, what we have to realize is that the archetype is no derivative of the male. The archetype could never have came from the male. We don't need science to figure that out. All we need is to look in our lives. Common sense, the best sense sometimes. All we got to do is look in our lives to realize that the archetype has given life right in front of us. Has made a man, has birthed a man right in front of us. All we have to do is look into nature right outside and say, damn, well, if you look at the plant kingdom, you will see which is abundant. It's the greatest organism on the planet, the most abundant. If we talk about population, nothing outpopulates the vegetation on the planet. When we look at the vegetation on the planet, this is nature. We see asexuality. There is no male and female, it's just male and female in one. It is parthenogenesis that we predominantly see in nature. And so what happens with the archetype is we have been confused, and the lower selves have mixed up the truth, which is the truth is basically that we come from the archetype, which is what you call the black woman. We have to stop calling these things what we call them, because simply these things are subliminally captivating us, enslaving our minds to expand. We must change our vocabulary and how we address ourselves and each other. So basically, the archetype is what we call it, meaning the original. When we study the origin, and science has admitted that the original woman was, they call it Lucy or Eve. You know, everything starts in Africa. So we know that at one point there was only archetypes. Now, how did Y types come to exist? There doesn't have to be some scientific hocus pocus imaginary story to know what this is. Some people say, oh, well, Jacob did this and there was a magic woo woo woo. No. One thing about the past is it's actually happening right now. Past, future, and present is happening at the same time. If you want to know about what happened in the past, if you look into the future, it's the same thing happening in a different form. So if we look at today, we can see today that there is parthenogenesis on this planet and many species on the planet and organisms on the planet. Now, when we talk about the archetype, usually what you hear is that this is how they confused you in the structure of family, is that you were the opposite of the male. The male was what completed you. That is a lie. You are complete in your own being. You are male and female pushed together. That's what make you the archetype. Your clitoris is how a male develops its penis. What they call a penis, but really it's just an extended clitoris with the skin on it. It's the same way if you study how organisms, and this is for mature, chosen audience only, people that are intelligent enough to go scientifically on this and do the research. Basically, when you look at the archetypes formality, what you're going to find is that behind, if you pull your skin back, of the vagina, you will find that, and you pull your skin back, and if it's stimulated enough, you will see that your clitoris is a little penis. Lots of us, feeling is believing, so you need to go see it. Next time you're stimulated, look at your clitoris. It's a small penis. But it's not a penis. It's what they call a clitoris. So if it's a clitoris, then that means that we have a clitoris. But either way, it's the same thing. Whether you want to call it a penis or a clitoris, it's the same thing. Now, why is this important? Because of the fact that now you see that you are not equal. You may be equal in value, but you're not equal in physiology. You're no equal to the male. This is nonsense. The male cannot sustain life. I always give this scenario.
Facts.
If you have a baby in the jungle, if you was an archetype, me, you, and the baby is in the jungle, and I die, or say you die, you the archetype, and the archetype dies, and it's just the Y type and the baby dies, unless the Y type, which is myself, I find some female or some archetype form that can give food to that baby, because I cannot provide life to this baby to sustain life. I cannot sustain life. This is why the XY chromosome look the way they look. I cannot sustain life. I don't have the DNA structure. I don't have the information. I don't have the vibration to actually sustain life. Therefore, I am not the equal. Now, if I pass away and I transition and the archetype and the baby is there, then humanity lives on.
Facts.
Now, if you look into science, if you look into the microwave electrical magnetic spectrum, which is the microorganism world, you're going to see cells. Cells are asexual. This is how life is formed. We have to understand that asexuality and parthenogenesis is the origin of humanity. If we just look into nature, plants are asexual. You have many fish that are asexual. When you look into the origins of things, we know that the Y type is not, we did not come from no Y type or no male. We say Y type here. We want to condition your mind to start saying Y type, because at the end of the day, it's not going to make no sense. We keep using the same words that entrap and enslave our minds. We have to change our vocabulary to break this spell. So the archetype is very important to understand that, as far as DNA hardware, the body being the hardware. Now, let me explain this, because I have to explain this for them to understand when I just say things. The hardware, your hardware, which is your body, the computer. Your body is a supercomputer. Now, your body is not actually physical. It's just vibrating at a certain condensity to make it seem what we call physical. The physical world is a certain condensity of the, I'll give you an example, ice, water, and gas form. You are all three. You're actually a gas form that's vibrated to the absolutes, to the point of manifesting a physical form, which is ice. You vibrated at a certain frequency of light to the point where you can manifest a physical body. Now, this physical body is for the light dimension. If you understand the electrical magnetic spectrum, you have vibrated yourself, your being, your astrological being, which is who you truly are. Your astrological energy has vibrated into the physical realm, which is the light realm, which light allows us to see. You see what I'm saying? And in this realm, under this certain amount of nanometer, you're vibrating at a certain amount of nanometer to allow you to think that you're physical. This is not physical. The only thing that makes it feel physical is the force of energy that won't let the hand go through it. Now, if we go like this, the air is less condensed. You see what I'm saying? But you are really just a spiritual being that manifested this body as a shell or a vehicle that will allow you to exist in the third dimension, what we call the third dimension, which is the 3D dimension, which allows us to see light reflect off of other things. This body is an avatar that was manifested with the mind to allow the body to exist on the third world plane, or third degree plane. You know what I'm saying? So basically, we must understand hardware, what hardware is. Hardware would be your computer. That's the computer. That would be the iPhone. Then you have to understand software. Software is basically the energy or the thought frequency that is on the hardware. So the greatest hardware on this planet is the XX chromosome. Now, with the XX chromosome, we mean the original chromosome that holds also the mitochondrial DNA. And I'll go into the mitochondrial DNA in a minute. So it's very important that we understand genetics and genes, but most of us are being distracted by the modern day slavery. Exactly. To be able to really educate ourselves in this most privileged time that we call the information age, where all the secrets are let out into the open. You see what I'm saying? So instead of you being able to sit and study and understand, you get into studying, but then you could hear the truth, but immediately you're distracted by your everyday life. You see what I'm saying? But all roads lead to the source, so we're not worried about that. But this is for the chosen anyway, the ones that are really chosen to get this. So basically, when we look at humanity and study the origins of humanity to understand how life works and how humanity works and how nature works, we can't understand nature without understanding ourselves first. The body is the orchestrator of what we're seeing. Everything external was internal. You have never seen outside of you. So in order to truly understand life as we know it, you must understand the body. The body is a reflection. Outside is the reflection of the body. You cannot even see outside without having this body. So when we study the body, we understand everything else. Once you understand yourself, that's why the ancients always said, know thyself, so you will know the gods and you will know everything else. You want it back?
Yeah, I just want to touch on where they went wrong. You're finna get right back. And so as he touched on the body, so what happened? Why are we confused? Why does this sound strange to some people? Why are you not a vibrational match for the message?
You'll get better light if you do it.
Yeah, okay, cool.
See
So,
what I'm saying?
yeah. So why are you not a vibrational match for the message? So what's happening? Now, what you call God, what you call source, is it something organic? Is it something natural? Or is it something artificial? Meaning that if source came down, condensed into a body, would it be powering a Babylon system? Or would it be powering
both?
This.
It'd be powering both.
And it will be powering both, depending on which vibration you are. If you're a high vibrational being, look around. Green and brown, green and brown. What color is closest to green and brown on this planet? What human avatar is the closest to green and brown? If you look at everything natural, if you look at everything organic, the flowers, the fruit, the trees, the insects, what is the closest to these colors? That would be the melanated archetype and the melanated Y type. Male and female, as far as the lower vibration will call it. So why are you there? Well, the senses that the source has given this avatar to know the higher vibration are being attacked, making you a lower vibration. But what do you mean, Amun? Well, let's go over your common sense. Your common senses. Your eyes, Look at what we see every day. When you're at a high vibration, green, brown, fruits, flowers, everything natural. When you're at a lower vibration, I'm sorry, I don't have anything lower vibration to show you here, because you're there. Sorry. Your ears, do you hear birds? Do you hear the wind? Do you hear water? Do you hear what's natural? Or do you hear boom, bang, clank, fuck you, this, that? Are you hearing what's natural, or are you hearing the lower vibration? Your skin is meant to absorb light. It's the first brain which absorbs light, which allows it to come in and be absorbed. The body can absorb this information. Air, you absorb air through your skin, water through your skin, earth through your skin. When you're touching the ground, your feet, it's electrical. That's like trying to charge your phone and putting a rubber on the socket. No connection. This is why we're vibrating low. All your natural senses, let's keep going. Nose, do you smell beautiful flowers? Do you smell fruit? Do you smell fresh air? Are you smelling smog, meat, death, artificial things? Your mouth, do you taste life? Do you put life into the being to be absorbed by the body? Light energy is information. Are you putting organic information? Are you putting natural information into this avatar to be downloaded so you can transmit light? Or are you putting in death, artificial things, lower vibrational things, demonic things, devilish things into the body? You see? How can you know God when the senses that you was meant to know God, to communicate? How are you going to pray when the body is in an artificial state? Remember that the mind is a product of the brain, and the brain is a product of the body. So if the body is sick, if the body is diseased, if the body is impure, then so is the heart, so is the mind. Remember, you are your blood. The blood carries the information throughout the body. If your blood is impure, then so is the rest of your body. So is your mind. So are your emotions. You can't impurify the soul, but you can't connect with it. Because the body, the prism has been blocked. The meridian, you receive static. You get messages, you can't hear a clear message. This is why your prayers go unanswered. Because you can't transmit. You are the best conductor for everything natural. You are here to power creation so that it can learn about itself. You are everything. Point to yourself. Where are you? You're not the body. Where are you? The only sin, and this is a quote from the master teacher, my twin flame nature boy. The only sin is to not be able to be you. Not to be able to express as you. Not to know you. And if you can't be human, if you can't be natural, if you can't be organic, there's no way possible you can be you. How can you possibly love yourself when that's not you in the mirror? You can't see your body because it's covered up in clothes. You can't see your face because it's covered up in paint. You can't see your hair because it's not your hair. We must wake up. 2017, the melanated God, the original, she must awaken. If something happened online where you cannot breastfeed your child, there is coconut milk. There is something natural. Master Teacher Natureboy, reflect.
All right, reflection. Like I was saying, we need to study our hardware, which is the body. The body is basically the hardware of, you know, the software, the intelligence. You have the hardware. The body is the hardware, like the phone or the computer. So we must understand the hardware first, so we can understand humanity and understand what we're seeing externally and what's going on externally. You must study yourself. It's very important that we get in tune with the XX chromosome and understand the original and what your body is made to do. And then we get into that, which science doesn't go into in detail. And you can go on YouTube and search melanin, and you're going to see black people trying to educate ourselves about melanin. And it's only right that we do educate ourselves about melanin. Now, when we look at melanin, what we see is that melanin is a superconductor. Now, what is a conductor? A conductor is something that organizes and manages something. Okay? So what melanin is the organizer and is a superconductor of life. It organizes and manages life. Now, as an archetype, you have to understand your hardware. You have to understand that your body is a computer and that nature is the motherboard for this computer. You have to connect yourself back to the planet. You have to understand what your hair is. I want you to study the hair root plexus. The hair root plexus is a nerve that's at the bottom of every hair bulb that connects it to your nervous system. And when we talk about nervous system, I want you to study neuromelanin. They will tell you that neuromelanin is of the brain, but neuromelanin is bigger than the brain. Most of your neuromelanin is in your stomach. It's in your it's your whole nervous system. We have electrical synapses happening all over our body that connect us as this living matrix that through all forms of energy, electricity, heat, light, sound, anything, any form of electricity, it is transmitted through our bodies when we connect through the earth. Now, us having melanin allows us to be a superconductor for all energy, all forms of energy. If you want to understand life, we have to understand vibration, frequency, and energy. And melanin. Melanin is the orchestra of life. Now, people that have less melanin have a less connection to what is. So how can you get taught what life is? Through science. When science stops at quantum physics. Science stops at quantum physics. When you stop observing something and the particle disappears. This is where science stops for Europeans. Science doesn't stop there for the melanated being. Now, the archetype being the original, having DNA. What is DNA? DNA is the software for the hardware, which is the body. Now, the software has more space. The hardware has more space. I'm sorry. The DNA is the hardware. The hardware has more drive and space to put in information on. I say if you have an iPhone, you might have a 32-bit iPhone or 16, megs? What is it? Gigabytes. You might have a 16 gigabyte iPhone. You understand? You have a 16 gigabyte iPhone, or you could have a 32 gigabyte iPhone. Now, the archetype would be the 32 gigabyte, which means you are allowed to put more information on this gigabyte. Okay, this hardware. What this means, it doesn't mean that that every archetype is God, and I want to make this clear. It does not mean you have the ability to be God or the devil. When we say God, what we're basically talking about is the higher self, higher frequency of thought. Higher frequency of thoughts make a higher frequency of reality. The highest frequency you're going to find on this plane is nature. You're going to want to become one with nature. Or the archetype can be compatible for the devil. And this is what you've been being used for. And anytime you take melanin and put it in any form, it's going to be great. It's going to orchestrate and organize it very great. So you are harnessing, you are harnessing your lower self, which is the lower thoughts. And I have to say this. If we're going to say the black woman is God, which is true, the black woman is the originator. The black archetype is the originator. The melanated archetype is the originator of everything. That we have to say that she is also the devil.
Thanks.
Because nothing comes from anything but, as far as humanity, but this archetype. You are responsible for the awakening of humanity. You are responsible for everything that is living and breathing in humanity today, whether that's a Chinese man, white man, any kind of derivative of humanity. any other what you call race. No, it's only one race. That's the human race. Everything came from this black archetype. And everything is following and influenced by her actions today, whether you know that or not. You are responsible. We are holding you responsible as your Y types. Now, who are the Y types? The Y types are what they call the guardians of the universe. We are the physical manifestation. If you look at the body, you will see that this is a physical vibration of a frequency called testosterone. Testosterone makes the muscles hard. This is controlled by the endocrine system. Why is this important? Because we're physically vibrating at a certain frequency to make us look like we look. This is not, oh, you're sexy. It's not about that. They have turned, the lower self have turned this into over-sexuality. You understand? Not saying that you're not supposed to be attracted, but we're not the opposites. People are like, oh, you're attracted to the opposite sex. There's only one gender. So much to give y'all. But we're going to stay focused on this. The physical form of the testosterone makes us hard. It makes us have muscles. Now, what are muscles for? Muscles are amino acids from proteins that build proteins. It makes us this way. Why are we like this? What is muscles for? Muscles protect bone. That's what muscles are for. Testosterone makes us a soldier, a shield, some form of protection. Even the muscles are protecting the bones. So you know that our physiology was manifested into this realm for a certain natural reason. This natural reason why we have muscles is simply to protect and build for the Y type. The Y type have always been the one that is the brain, because she is both. She is the head, she is the lead. Whether that's on the devil, which is the lower self, or God, the higher self. She's always been the lead. Once in tune with nature. If you can grasp that. We are all being led. It's a powerful word called influence. Influence. We are all being influenced by the archetype. They don't like to take responsibility for this, but it's very, very true. The first person that taught you whatever you learned has been, when you first came into this realm, you came in through what? An archetype. No matter what, has been responsible for everything that's going on today. And if she's going to be called God, then she must be able to take the responsibility of God. It is very important that we hold her accountable for leading us and accountable for everything that's everything that's out of function, disorder, disturbed, dis-ease. Anything that's is a derivative of her actions. She can heal the planet. She is the only one that can heal the planet. If we fucked up, it's because of the archetype. It's all reflecting her action. Something very subtle. Something very, influential. Something very in the background. What we see is the reaction. We don't see what's behind the action. It's something very subtle and very small. Sometimes microscopic. So what I'm saying is that she has the mitochondrial DNA. She has the hardware, the space. She can tap into the ether and get information from past, future, and present and bring forth to change. And she has the ability to change everything. What we are here to do is to awaken her. Those that are willing. Now, all will not awaken to do the righteous thing. Some are designed to be the lower self. The lower self is a part of nature as well. You must have balance. So our message goes out as a broadcast to those that are willing to come into the higher selves as archetypes, because we need you. We are here to fight for you. We are here to protect you. We are here to build for you. We are here to support whatever. Once we know that you are in tune with nature, we are here to die for you. We are here. This is what I'm here in the physical, and we are here for in the physical. The Y type is here for in the physical realm. We're not here to show off our bodies to be sexual. We are here to show you that we are humans, and everything in nature wears its own skin. Everything. And we are in tune with nature, and so should you be. And we and our physical state, my soul, like I said, the only sin on this planet is to not totally be you. My physical being lets me know who I am and what my purpose here is. First of all, I'm human. You're not allowed to be human in the lower self. You're in a human body, but you're not human because you do not do what humans are supposed to do as far as eating from nature, eating everything directly from nature organically. Your droppings go on the toilet. Our droppings go on the ground to the plant. I'm gonna hit him with that. When we don't do these things that connects us to nature, we disrupt the living matrix. Now, this physical form that I'm in is a warrior. I am a worker ant. I am here as a military, as someone that is the archetype. Not that the archetype needs